I'm a physician who's going to prove to you that the press is lying to you and being very disingenuous for profit in regards to coronavirus and your health and why you cannot trust them. Pay attention to them, but you cannot trust them. Normally, as a physician, my job is not to monitor politics or the news about what's going on with the war. That's for my soldier son to take care of, and for the politicians and for the leaders of that arena. But my job is to fight disease. On the other hand, when I see the press being disingenuous, basically lying to people and tricking people, I want to call it out. I want to call it out in a way and in words that would not probably be appropriate for a video. So let's just talk about the numbers, and I'm going to read them all, so make sure I get this right. So far worldwide, we've had 82,294 cases of coronavirus worldwide, with 2,804 deaths. Now, if that death is someone whom you love, that's a serious, serious thing. So I'm not discounting the fact that this is a dangerous thing that is affecting people. If you're the person who dies even from something rare, which coronavirus at this point is relatively rare, then that's a major thing to your family and to you, and that deserves respect and the utmost solemn acknowledgement of the pain that goes with that. But on a worldwide basis, and when you see politics and billions of dollars and emotional upheaval that's disrupting my own staff in my office, I had to have this conversation with them yesterday. I'm going to call out the lies from the perspective of a physician who's worked in infectious disease. I've done research with infectious disease. I was an ER physician for 12 years. I've helped salvage people who were dying from various infections, everything from HIV to sepsis in young children. So I know what the disease looks like. And I was a research chemist and physics person, and I understand the math. So let me call out the lies so that you understand why this is very disingenuous. So so far, the average, and for the past few years, the average deaths from drunk drivers is 29 per day. Drunk drivers alone have killed more people than all of our wars combined, including the Civil War. That's an average of one person dying every 50 minutes. So if you watch a movie, 2 people died during that movie. So far, 0 people have died in the U.S. from coronavirus. But do you see anyone on the news an upheaval about people dying from drunk drivers? Never, because guess who buys ads on the news? People who sell alcohol. So it would hurt their business to tell you about that. So they don't talk about it. It doesn't sell ads. It would actually kill the many ads that are being bought by the alcohol companies. Now, I'm not saying that somehow alcohol should be outlawed again. I'm just putting in perspective the coronavirus thing. So let's talk about another thing. Let's go to infectious diseases. Actually, let's talk about another thing, not infectious. Last year, somewhere around 70,000 people, died from drug overdoses. 70,000. Somewhere around 68% of that were opioids alone. 70,000. If you do the math on that, that's somewhere around 191 per day, or about 8 per hour. So go watch a movie, and during that time, 16 people will die from drug overdoses, and about somewhere around 60%, 70% of those, so somewhere around 10, 12 of them, will it be just from opioids? All right? Don't see anybody talking on the news about that. Remember how many people have died so far from coronavirus in the U.S.? 0. Total worldwide, 2,804. Total last year from opioid overdoses, 70,000. All right, so let's talk about something infectious. From 2000, this is from the CDC, since 2010, it's been an average of 12,000 to 61,000 people dying from the flu. In 2018, somewhere around 48 million people got the flu. And of those, close to 1,959,000, this is in 2018, from the CDC. 959,000 worldwide went to the hospital. There were 79,400 deaths. 79,400 deaths from the flu. That averages 217 per day if you spread it out over the year. It isn't spread out over the year, but if you averaged it out over the year, that would be 217 per day, or 9 per hour dying from the flu. So I'm not saying that coronavirus couldn't wind up spreading like crazy, but if you look at the people that are dying from it, it's spreading like the flu, and most people who get it, the vast majority of people who get it, have a cold-like illness that's severe. It's a severe cold, but sometimes it's even minor symptoms, and unfortunately, it preys oftentimes on the weak, young people or old people or those who are immunocompromised. So what kills the person is not the coronavirus or the flu, or just like with the flu, often what kills people is the secondary bacterial infections. So your best defense to all of these things is to be healthy. It's not to look to the government to save you, although there are things they should be doing, which I'll get to, but it's to stay healthy. And on those lines, this mask thing, wearing a paper mask, is bull. What that does is it protects the person who's coughing from spreading so much. If you're sick, if you're the one who has the flu or the coronavirus and you cough, it protects it from as much of those droplets spreading into the room. But once those droplets are on a surface somewhere, if you touch the surface and then touch your eyes or your mouth, then you're going to transmit and more likely to catch the thing. So good hand washing techniques, keeping your hands away from your face, keeping yourself healthy. I think Linus Pauling was correct. I think lots of vitamin C. But the reason the press is basically lying to you is that they're making a big deal out of numbers that are still minuscule compared to so many other things. And they're not talking about the other things because that doesn't get viewers and make them money. It actually loses them money to talk about how many people are dying every day from these other things. So now, what about how fast it spreads and China's shutting down whole cities and such? Okay, yeah, they did. In China, you realize you still don't get to have as many babies as you want. Nobody talks about this on the news. You still have forced abortion in China. How's that? You want to go live there? All these people who claim that communism and socialism is wonderful, they don't understand socialism is not synonym for safety net. My own grandfather never went to school because his mother couldn't afford him back in a time when if you had a child out of wedlock, there was no government safety net. There needs to be a government safety net, but that is not the same as having the government take your business because you're making too much money and then spread that around and basically steal from you, take your whole business away and own the business. That's socialism, when the government takes the business and owns it, and then decides who's going to get paid and who doesn't. And that's what collapses countries like Venezuela and the Soviet Union. And that's the communism is why, you can count on this. If you're in a country where you have forced abortion, they're going to shut down whole cities and lock you up until they're sure you're not contagious. They're going to control it. You watch. The numbers of people with coronavirus will fall. It's total panic over something that's going to be controlled and will never approach anything like the flu or just drunk drivers and opioids. So, yep, we can die, but we're not going to die from what the press is talking about. They're being tricky and they're lying to you and making a big something out of nothing because to tell the truth to you would hurt their business. So, okay, I'm going to go back to reading the New England Journal. Hope this helps you quit panicking. Take your vitamin C, don't smoke, do what your grandmother said, get lots of sleep, vote for capitalism, make sure there's a good social net so those who can't work are taken care of. Do whatever you can to do for mental illness. If you notice this recent mass shooting at the brewery, the guy had thoughts that the people that he shot were coming to his home and moving the furniture around. Someone should identify that and had him mentally evaluated. Yeah, he was angry, but that is that's schizophrenia. If you think people are coming, sneaking into your house and moving your furniture, watch for it. The mass shootings are largely because we're not taking care of the mentally ill. We need to not be talking and panicking about coronavirus. This is your doctor, not your doctor, but this is a doctor talking. The panic is about the wrong thing. We need to be fighting the things that are getting people on drugs. We need to have more mental hospital beds. We need to trust the CDC to do their job and realize the World Health Organization is corrupt and worthless at this point. It's become completely corrupt. Research it, read about it. The World Health Organization is a crock. Your press is a crock. Those are the main problems. Mental illness. We do need to be thinking about infectious disease, but we need real numbers, and we need to support the CDC and the infectious disease and etiology, the epidemiologists. We need to support them and support the research, but not panic over these little numbers. Anyway, hope that helps you. Take your vitamin C. Don't buy a face mask. You don't need it. Go wherever you need to go in the U.S. It's not going to be a big deal. You're more likely to get hit by a drunk driver getting to the airport.